Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.
Where'd you get him on, Alan?
Chatterbait fishing that shallow break line. There's a little ditch out here.
Oh, nice fish. Big guy. Big boy.
He's right on that ditch line. Nice one. Nice fish.
Did he hit right away?
Nope. Just dragging it slow right along the edge of that where I showed you on the fish finder.
Yeah.
Dragging it right along the edge. Just bam. They're just sitting here. Look at that fat fish. Called big fatty Prespawn.
Good morning, Alan. It's 38 degrees.
Yeah, it's cold.
And it's about 47 degrees water temp. And we decided we're between storms. We're going to give it another try. What are we looking for today?
Well, you know what? This is March, so it's already spring, but it's like winter. And I always tell everybody, you know, we have calendars, fish don't have calendars.
Right.
So they usually go by the length of the day and then water temperature. Those are your two basic remedies that those fish go by. So you know this is pre-spawn. So fish, once they get that move and they move up into those pre-spawn areas, it doesn't matter if you have a miserable storm or a cold front, they don't go nowhere. They stay there and they'll wait and they'll shift their way up.
So you think they're staging now to go into pre-spawn?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And they will hang on weed lines. They'll sit in little ditches, which I'm going to fish today.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll bite. You know, the water temperature probably by 11 o'clock will probably warm up at like 52 to 54 degrees, and they'll eat. So I plan on catching some fish. You just have to slow down in the morning.
Water temperature is 49 degrees. I was scanning with the live. I was pitching a brush hog, and then I saw this flat, picked up my chatterbait, boom, fish on.
How do you know which color chatterbait?
I like to use dark colors. You see the water is a little dark. This has been one of my go-to colors.
What kind of lures are you going to use?
I'll use chatterbaits and brush hogs, something I'm going to fish slow.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think I use the most is an app on my phone for the tides. So I know where the tides are, and usually they're going to bite usually on the high tide and pre-spawn.
Okay.
So I prefer fishing the high tides. I like probably an hour before and then 2 hours after is prime time, but I think I'm going to get the most bite.
So you think in pre-spawn they normally bite just around the high tide time?
They feed better.
Yeah.
Because they'll move up. They fish no tides. They've been born and raised there, and the tide goes up and down twice a day. They know when it's going up. They know how fast it's moving. But as you know, we got a lot of rainfall, and there's a lot of breaks in the levees, and the water's a little discolored. So there's a lot of variables, but they can be caught.
So when you say they're going to be in high tide during pre-spawn, does that mean during high tide you're going to move up closer to the bank, or that they'll be biting but probably still moored in the weed lines?
They'll mosey their way because the water temperature is so cold. They'll mosey their way and get on little drops. I'll show you in a little bit.
So when you do that, you mean you're more like positioning your boat straight, and you're looking on your live, and you're looking for
the ledges
and the depressions.
Correct.
And the bass are down there waiting to ambush.
They're sitting on the edge.
And they're staging.
Yeah, because you figure if you had a lane that was 5 feet wide and you cast this way, you're only in that 5 foot section for a minute. So I put the boat and I line it up so my lure's in the 5 foot lane the whole time.
And are those bass, can you see them on your live, or are you just looking for the actual topography?
No. Largemouth, you have a hard time seeing them.
Because they hug the bottom.
They hug the bottom.
Yeah.
Once it's anything within a foot to the bottom, you can't see them.
So this is something special that you do more in shallow water areas like the Delta where there's a lot of debris.
I use it everywhere. Even when we're in lakes, I used it, when we were 40 feet. I just use it to scan because it tells me exactly where the ledges are.
So you're going to show us how to do that on the live?
Yeah, I will a little bit.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to the rest of the day.
All right, let's go.
So Alan, it's pre-spawn time. We've got a cold front coming in. The water hasn't warmed up very much. It was 47 this morning. It's 50 now. So we're already on an outgoing tide. Where are you going to fish now?
So right now what I'm basically doing is these fish know that it's getting time to get ready to spawn. These fish, when
they decide that it's pre-spawn time, they're going to move up, and they'll come up when the water temperature, some days it's been getting as high as 54, but a lot of times when the weather cools down a little bit, then they move back off, but they don't go very far. And I usually find these little channels. They're like little, I would call them like little ditches, or actually the weed line, the edge of where the weed line is.
So how do you find them? Do you can just do with 2D sonar?
You could do it with 2D sonar, but it's a lot easier with the live. This is 2D sonar. You can see the ledge coming up right here. We're only in 4 feet of water, and I use my live too. So basically, what I do is I pan out with my live. So this is my live here, and I point it out. You can see this beam, that's where it's aiming. So it's aiming out. You see where it drops down, you see the grass. Now I'm going to swing it around. Now see how it's coming up, and see how it just rose right here? So that's 20 feet to the right. So I take my motor, I scoot over about 20 feet to the right, and then I watch it again. I watch my meter. Now I'm a little bit too shallow, so I come in and see all the grass right here at maybe 5-6 feet of water. There's a couple fish right here. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my, right here, see all this grass? And you could see it on the meter here. I drop back in the channel right here, and I'm going to line it up perfect, and I make long casts. So I'm coming down right here on the side of that channel all the way down, and my lure will be in a strike zone. And that's how I've been catching them. I've been doing pretty good. You know, and the water has been in the high 40s to 53, 54 degrees.
So are the bass feeding right now, or they're just sitting there waiting?
I think they sit in there, and then when you bring it by, they'll eat it, because, you know, they want to get ready for the spawn. So just like I showed you on that, where I was fishing that little ledge, you know, we're out 50 feet, 60 feet from the shore. There's a little ditch line there, and I'm just parallel casting it down. And look what I got, a biggie. Dragging it real slow. This is a pre-spawn bass, so it's not going to go nowhere. As soon as the water warms up, zoop, she'll be right on the bank.
Well, it turned out to be a gorgeous day, around 50 degrees, but the water didn't really warm up. It's still only 50.
No, it was cold this morning. We started out, it was like 47, and then it got cloudy, and it rained like heck, and hailed, and,
and hailed on us, yeah.
And those are some of the toughest conditions, you know. And you know, we're in March already, and the water temperature is still in the 40s, and as high as it got was 50.5. But we caught some nice fish.
You know, and it was different. Normally we'll start out in the morning, say in the summer, we'll immediately hit like chatterbaits, and then we'll go on to brush hogs. But today we kind of flipped the script, and we started out.
It's so cold, you know, a lot of these fish, they're more methodic, but they know it's getting close to spawning season, so they'll move up and start feeding. And we did a lot of offshore stuff, and you fish a little slower, and you downsize.
Yeah, so normally I fish the big brush hog and a big weight.
We were using a baby brush hog, you know, with a 3/8 ounce weight on there, and pitching it in. And this is what's been catching a lot of the fish.
And why this color?
And because the water's so stained right now, so I would either, you know, you watch some of the videos I did, the darker the water, darker the color.
Right, okay.
So when I get the water where I can see a foot and it's kind of green, then I want to go to not a black, but more of a purple color with a little flake in it.
And then we were going up and down the sloughs, and every so often I was watching you study your live, and you would quickly put down your brush hog, and then what would you do?
So what happens is when the water temperature starts getting close to 50, I find these fish sitting on these out away from the shore. They're actually staging areas where they're going to go sit there and wait, you know, when it's time to move up, and they'll move up and feed.
Because they're in pre-spawn now,
they're
right?
In pre-spawn. And then I go to a chatterbait, and you know, you want to use a dark color again. I'm using a dark colored chatterbait, you know, 1/2 ounce, so I could click the weeds. I'm mainly fishing in like 4 to 6 feet of water, and I caught some big ones on this guy today.
You got a real nice one today.
They've been chewing on this thing. So this has been those are the two kind of baits you want to use when conditions are really tough down here in the Delta. There's a chatterbait and something small like a brush hog, or you can use D-bombs or whatever you want to use.
But the bite is not hard. You really, it's more like some of them just tap
like
it.
a mush bite.
Yeah.
Because they're not real active right now. The water's too cold. But pretty soon, you know, because they know because of the length of the day and stuff, they know that it's getting close. So one of these days, you know, we're going to come and it's going to be unbelievable.
So it's not just overcast or sunny like this. It really is water temperature and clarity.
Correct. Right now. Yeah.
Right. But we ended up having a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caught some big ones.
Yeah, you limited. Limited on some big ones.
I always get my limit. Yeah. So, it's fun.
I'll have to edit that in.
Yeah. But it's a good day. So, you know, it's not wide open, but it's, you have a good time.
Every day on the water is a fantastic day.
Yeah, there's so much out here that, you know, you can learn. You know, most people go around hitting the bank, and here I'm 50 feet out away from the bank.
We didn't get anything on the bank.
No, everything's out.
Yeah. Even if at least 10, 15 feet from the bank, it's the closest one.
Everybody is having a tough time down in the Delta. And you asked me a question about bass and, you know, your northern bass and your Florida
because we
bass.
keep seeing in the central Delta, we keep hearing that
It's
nobody's
tough.
getting anything. But here, you've been going out getting pretty much limits all the time. How are you doing that?
Yeah, it's a different strain. So I call Florida bass sissies because when you get a temperature,
Big sissies.
you get a temperature change, a drop, they lock up. They got tight lips. They do not bite. Where your northern bass, they're used to their colder water temperature and more current. So you know, some of my best days in the fall are when the water drops down in the 50s, low 50, 52, where I smack them. But I also catch them when the water's in the 40s.
Right. They acclimate better too to this cold water.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They're a lot tougher fish. But some of the things that Florida that, you know, fishing all my life down the Delta, when they first stocked them, that's one of the first things I noticed, that they're, when that temperature or you get pressure or anything else, I call them sissies. They get tight lipped.
Yeah. So we've gone down to the central Delta during these storms and we can see them on the live, but they're real hard to get going.
Remember we were down there a month ago and 8 hours of fishing, I never got a fight.
I know, but we could see them wandering about,
but they
waving
won't bite.
at us, laughing at us.
So I tend to come up north so I can go after these northern. They're nice.
So, you know, check out our other videos. We've got a lot of videos on how to use your active target. And, you know, we're also learning every year if the technology gets better and you can get more and more specific on where to target and, you know, really up your chances of catching your PB.
Yep, that live target really up my game.
Yeah.
And lowered the people behind me.
Yeah, that's for another video. But thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video. You have to say something too.
Bye. I'm frozen. Well, this water is cold, but look at these beauties. Two nice ones. Limit of fish. Two big ones. Okay, I'll see you guys. Here we go. Oh,
Worth getting up in the morning.
sure is.
Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.